Okay, so in that video titled "The Will of God Might Be Better Than You Think," I give an example of um, it being in the will of God that, let's say, if there's a stripper and she's in a strip club and there are men who are single and they're watching her strip in a strip club and everybody's cool with what's going on there. There's no coercion. There are no spiritual crimes being committed, and everybody is in agreement with what's going on. That moment in time is a part of the will of God. That those people are moving in the will of God. And because I said that, somebody posed a question. Okay, so then you're saying that if two people who are married, we're starting off wrong there in the first place, but I'm gonna go on with the question. There's two people who have partners or whatever, and they come together and they are in agreement with lying to their partners about what they're doing. Then are they in the will of God? And so this is my response to that question. First of all, in the example I gave, there were no spiritual crimes being committed. No one has a partner. And the stripper on stage, she's stripping out of her own free will. The will of God is for you to be able to use your free will without opposing or suppressing the will of others. That is the will of God. It's that simple. So in the example that was given, we're talking about people who are connected to other people and using deceit in order to suppress the will of their partners. Because if you're with someone and they're with you solely off the ideal that you are being faithful to them and you guys are exclusive to each other, they are practicing their will to be with you based off of that information. So if you are lying or deceiving them into thinking that you're just with them and there's no one else, you are participating in a spiritual crime, and you are withholding information that suppresses or opposes their will to be able to exercise their own will, their own desires, and their own choices to be able to stay in that relationship. Lying and deceit are tools used to suppress and oppress and oppose the will of another. Therefore, these tools are not within the will of God. However, there's a flip side to this. Like I previously said, I hate this phrase, the will of God, because it brings about a religious connotation, and religion is a construct that was created to oppress the masses of the people. So I really hate using the phrase will of God, but there's really no other phrase that you and I both can come to a relative agreement about what we're talking about, the concepts in which we're explaining. However, the perfect will of God is for people to be able to have their own desires and to be able to use their own will, free of oppression and suppression. So if you're lying and deceiving a person, you are taking that from them. Now, in the case that someone is the offender and they start a connection, or they are the offender first. If a person comes to oppress or to suppress your will by lying and deceiving, this person now has opened themselves up to have that energy returned back to them. The will of God has laws inside of it, okay? And we operate within these laws. One of the laws is you don't oppress other people's will. Another law is you attract what you are. You get back what you put out. That's a law. That's an energetic law. It's a reciprocal energetic exchange. So if you lie or deceive, you now open yourself up to receive that energy back. Because God would not have you suffer and be abused, okay? If you were the offended party, you have the choice to then return that same energy back to them. One example of this would be, let's say, a person who takes the life of another, okay? That person who had their life taken, they didn't want their life taken, but their life was taken by another. And therefore, their will was opposed and bent and suppressed. Okay? Follow me here. Now, the person who took the life of another has now opened themselves up to have their own life taken. This is why we have things like the death punishment, death row, and all that. This is why we have life sentences, because the point is now to take from you what you took from someone else. Another example of this would be a child. Okay, you got a little kid that's walking down the street, and a predator comes to try and bend the will of this child by using deceit and offering this child candy. It is now okay for the child to then lie to this predator in order to bend their will, to return that energy back to him, to that person, okay? To bend the will of the predator who's trying to exert their will on top of the child. One more example of this would be, let's say, a man that is coming to deceive a woman. He's trying to make her think what he wants from her is a relationship. He wants to be there, and he wants to cultivate a real connection. But in all actuality, the only thing he's there for is to have intimacy with her. But he uses manipulation and deceit in order to carry this out, and therefore bending her will. If she knew that all he wanted was physical intimacy, and he didn't want an actual connection, and she would choose not to deal with him by him lying and deceiving her, he has now bent her will. And therefore, he now opens himself up to have his will bent. So, if she now in returns uses him or deceives him into thinking that he's gonna get physical intimacy, and she takes everything he's worth, and she takes his money or whatever, and he's only giving the money because he thinks that he's gonna get physical intimacy, that is reciprocal energetic exchange. He opened himself up to receive deceit and lying and manipulation. In all of these cases, we're talking about fair grounds. We're talking about being able to defend yourself. God would not have you be in situations and just allow people to take advantage of you. That But anyway, the point is, reciprocal energetic exchange is a law of God. Like, it's a law. It's all in nature, okay? So, when you talk about lying and deceit, yes, lying and deceiving is not in the will of God. However, the opposing side of that is still God. Do you understand that? Like, everything is God. And so I know we talked about the fact that you're not being punished for not working within the will of God, but you simply experience the consequences of working outside of the will of God. What do you think that looks like? Or how do you think karma comes back? It comes back through other people. All people are God. All people are a part of God. And so when you talk about the wrath of God is seen through events, natural occurrences, and people. And the wrath of God, again, is just your intense experience of your consequences of living outside of the perfect will of God. So I just wanted to make this clear, because over on TikTok, it's a little wild. Y'all can go check it out if you want to. I wouldn't. Y'all seem like more of a meek, you seem like more of a meek crowd over here on YouTube. So, but I just wanted to explain that here, that deceit and lying and manipulation are just tools, okay? But they're tools to bend will. So if you use the tool to bend will, that tool now can be used on you, because you just opened yourself up for an equal, reciprocal, energetic exchange. I just want to make that clear. If you have any questions, leave your questions in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And don't forget to leave a tip for your girl, because I like money.